The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today with MindStream Analytics and spending a bit of your Friday with us. My name is Del Rogers with MindStream Analytics. Today we'll be presenting on Predictive Analytics Demystifying. Before we get started, let me do a few housekeeping items. First off, I want to confirm that everyone can hear me. On the right-hand side of the screen, if you could touch the raise your hand so that I can know that everyone can hear me. And if you could do that now, I would appreciate it. Wonderful, thank you. Also, you'll notice on the right-hand side of the screen, there's a place for question tab. There's a question tab. At any time during the webinar, please enter your questions into the question box, and we'll address all questions at the end of the webinar. Now, very quickly, go over the agenda for our webinar today. Brief introduction of who MindStream Analytics is. A little bit about what is predictive analytics, who needs predictive analytics, how to build predictive models, demonstration, IBM, SPSS, success stories, and then a time for question and answer at the end. Now, a little bit about MindStream Analytics. MindStream Analytics was selected as one of CIO Review's 20 most promising data analytics consulting companies in 2013. One of our customers, MindStream, was awarded the 2014 Performa Tech Award for Excellence for the most effective adoption of technology by a finance organization. This award recognized the value created by MindStream in guiding MindStream to the highest level of performance in risk management, cost reduction, and operational efficiency. According to recent studies from IDC, transformative shift in data, cloud, customer engagement is making CFOs, CMOs, and other business executives buyers of technology. What MindStream does is help guide these executives in a technology area that they may not be familiar with, integrating data from different sources, extracting value from it. Our certified skills and our trusted advisor approach provides a reality check for our customers, leveraging our analytic technology partners like IBM to reduce customer risk while providing high-value, award-winning services that take a direct line to the bottom line value. I would like to introduce our presenter today, Quan Tien from MindStream Analytics. Quan is a business intelligence professional who has worked on many DRM, HFM, and planning implementations. He is a consulting at MindStream Analytics, Boston-based consulting and management services firm specializing in enterprise performance management and BI analytics solutions for customers. Quan has 5 years of experience with EPM software production and 7 years with business modeling solutions. Prior to joining MindStream, he worked at IBM and PwC, where he offered advice to clients on business strategies and business process optimization. Quan, thank you for being with us today. Let's start off by telling us a little bit, what is predictive analytics?
Thank you, Del. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be here today to discuss the most lately discussed topic. Del, to your question, what is predictive analytics? Predictive analytics is a business intelligence technology that produces a predictive score for each customer or organizational element, and it assigns these predictive scores to the job of a predictive model, which has in turn been trained over your data, learning from experience of your organization. So long, short, it's basically empirically derived models used for predicting future outcomes from your historical data. So goals of predictive analytics are bringing key business insights into our decision making. It's a solution to our biggest challenges with data mining. It should integrate with data-driven decision making, and of course bring positive ROI and superior outcomes. Predictive analytics offers the expertise to weave big data analytics. A lot of outperforming organizations often start in one of these 4 high-value areas when we talk about predictive analytics. The first is in the area of customer analytics. In the current hyper-competitive environment, the mandate to acquire new customers, keep profitable existing customers, and grow their spend has never been higher. To help do that, organizations are using customer analytics for advanced client segmentation so they can market to customers as individuals. They're analyzing the social media sphere as well as other unstructured data to gain and improve understanding of customer sentiment to take action that improve customer loyalty and decrease customer churn. And in this case, let me explain what churn means, or churn rate, right, as sometimes it's called churn rate or attrition rate. In its broadest sense, it's a measure of the number of individuals or items moving out of a collective over a specific period of time. So we can basically call them outliers or anomalies. The second area clients are focusing on is leveraging analytics to transform financial processes. Organizations are focused on enabling rolling plans, improving their forecasting and budgeting processes, and responding to changing market dynamics. They're also looking to automate the financial close process and delivering real-time dashboards so they have their fingers on the pulse of the entire business. The third is using analytics to make more risk-aware decisions. In the post-2008 era of increasing regulation, oversight, and demands of transparency, organizations are using analytics to make risk-aware decisions, managing both financial and operational risk, and dramatically reducing the cost of compliance. And finally, in the area of operational efficiency, organizations are using analytics to drive the next wave of operational efficiencies, optimizing their supply chains, identifying threats, and reducing fraud. And most recently, in the emerging area of predictive maintenance, which is using analytics to predict when maintenance is needed so that it can be done before failure, not after. So when those 4 high-value areas are then applied to industries, the analytics journey comes in full circle. I would suggest customer would probably be retail. It could be banking as well. Finance, on the finance side, side, probably governments or any public sector. Operations, we do have a lot of industrial. It is mostly predictive maintenance issues before they occur. And risk, I would like to point out banking, because banking, managing fraud, that's where they use predictive analytics a lot. So who needs predictive analytics? Companies that really need to secure and fight against competition, right? The companies that need to increase sales, grow their customer base, the banks that need to manage fraud, or credit card companies, the retail stores that want to meet customers' expectations, and of course any companies that would need to improve their core business capacity. So let me talk briefly on how we can build predictive models. CRISP-DM, or cross-industry standard process for data mining, includes 6 phases that address the main issues in data mining. The 6 phases fit together in a cyclical process designed to incorporate data mining into your larger business practices. So the 6 phases include business understanding, data preparation, modeling, evaluation, and deployment. Business understanding, this is perhaps the most important phase of data mining. Business understanding includes determining business objectives, assessing the situation, determining data mining goals, and producing a project plan. Data understanding, data provides the raw materials of data mining. So this phase addresses the need to understand what your data resources are and their characteristics. It includes collecting initial data, describing them, exploring and verifying your data quality. In SPSS Modeler, the data audit node is available for this particular phase. The next phase is data preparation. After cataloging your data resources, you will need to prepare your data for mining. Preparation includes selecting, cleaning, integrating, and formatting the data. So you have definitely seen data through Excel spreadsheet. You need to clean them. You need to break them out. So all those operations and processes will be included in this phase. Modeling. This is, of course, the flesh part of data mining, where sophisticated analysis methods are used to extract information from the data. The phase involves selecting modeling techniques, generating test designs, and building and assessing models. And the last are evaluation and deployment. These, of course, include evaluating the chosen models, and then, of course, invest all these effort to reap the benefits, right? The deployment part focuses on integrating your new knowledge into your everyday business processes to solve your original business problem. So this phase includes plan deployment, monitoring, and maintenance, producing a final report to the management or the company. So we would like to get to IBM SPSS demonstration. This part includes SPSS Modeler as a tool to make predictive analytics. The standard process would probably be from the side of IBM to get your data and analyze in Cognos Workspace first, use SPSS statistics to forecast, and use SPSS Modeler for the predictive analytics, so taking your historical data to predict your future outcome. To plan, we can use Cognos TM1 and visualize and decide SPSS Decision Management or Cognos Insight. So SPSS Modeler, it's the data mining and text analytics workbench, and it allows users to create predictive intelligence by uncovering patterns and relationships in the data. The data can be structured and unstructured. Structured meaning that you can use data like age, gender, marital status, income, etc. And unstructured, which is things like textual data in call center notes, social media content, right, or other open text. The concepts are then extracted from the text along with the sentiment, which can then be used in the model building process by combining a person's thoughts and attitudes with their demographics or other attributes. You're able to greatly increase the accuracy with these models. SPSS Modeler is very easy to use. It has user-friendly interface, and the automated modeling is available immediately, and it's used for data preparation. SPSS Modeler offers the natural language processing to extract concepts and sentiments in text, so basically to process all text analytics. And it has a very broad range of modeling algorithms. All those algorithms include classification, segmentation, and association. On the slide, you can see very briefly how we can come into the first phase of business understanding and data understanding. We're trying to visualize our data using different charts. That would be part of classification. Classification includes techniques such as position trees, charts, and different kind of neural networks as well. So on the slide, you can see a standard window in SPSS Modeler, and the nodes that we call each of the glyphs inside of the model, these are grouped into a palette in the lower screen. The palette are consisting of sources, record operations, graphs, modeling, and output. And each of these nodes can be configured and mean something during your data mining. So in this very simple model, what we're doing is taking the Excel spreadsheet as an input, and then we're selecting the data. We're filtering the data, and we run all models at once. Either it's regression, either it's some logic probit regressions to find the churn. And then we create an output into a nice table, or we can, of course, export these data into any other output that we need. The last phase of using SPSS tools would be putting your data into SPSS decision management and create different what-if scenarios and make decisions based on what the tool gives you. So that would be the last phase where we evaluate our data and analysis, and it would be the last part of evaluation and deployment in CRISP DM process. On the next slides, we want to show you some general success stories. The companies that use Predictive Analytics to resolve all of their challenges and problems. The first is XO Communications. XO Communications is a US-based national communication service provider of voice network carrier, wholesale, and hosted services. XO serves businesses, government, domestic, and international telecommunications carriers, cable companies, content providers, and mobile wireless companies. And their challenges were higher. They needed to control their churn, right? There were numerous small or mid-sized customers that they needed to manage. It was the whole process very inefficient, hard to reach out to each customers, no clear, reliable means to identify customers at risk. So after the implementation of Predictive Analytics, the customers were scored on likelihood to churn per month. Through the BI web interface, client service managers could access predictive data and customer profiles based on territory and prioritize customer outreach. The return on investment in this project was 376%, and the payback was 5 months. The average annual benefit is around $3 million. XO has been able to increase customer retention and retain subscription revenues. Year 1 churn decreased from 8%, and year 2 was 18%. The next client was Hamilton County Department of Education. As the 5th largest K-12 school system in the state of Tennessee, HCDE oversees 78 different schools. HCDE's 6,700 employees work towards a common goal, helping all 42,000 students in the District of Hamilton County succeed by reaching graduation and then moving into post-secondary education or the workforce. So here the challenges were the graduation rate. We needed to increase that. we needed to intervene with the students that were at risk, prevent them from dropping out, analyze the text-based surveys, right, and provide really the right data to make the right decisions. And these, of course, include the decisions on different kinds of scholarships, the decisions on whether to intervene with at-risk students at the right time. So the results and the benefits after implementing the predictive analytics, teachers and administrators can now easily identify at-risk students. So we basically took the data, and using the predictive analytics, you can show who or which students are at risk by reading the empirical or historical data of their grades, of their scores from the tests, right, of their attendance, and so on and so on. So the benefits of it was that the teachers and administrators could really easily identify those students. The client could predict which intervention activities would be optimal, and of course, produce the year-over-year attendance. The graduation rates increased by 10%, and the workload, right, of creating each report of students, right, decreased by 25 hours. The last client that we would like to introduce is Centerstone Research Institute. Here, as you can see, Center Research Institute, a nonprofit organization, right, that works in the mental and behavioral health sector. It aims to find new ways to connect research with practice by improving care and reducing costs. It owns several research labs, right, in hospitals and clinics across the country, and their challenges were to ensure that patients really receive the benefits, right, of their breakthrough, the actual benefits, and of course receive the correct diagnosis, right, on treatments, and they would like to use the analytics technologies to connect with researchers and healthcare providers. So after implementing the predictive analytics, they are now able to create their predictive models, right, on their own, right, and they could assess the effectiveness of various treatment options based on data of their patients. They can improve operating costs just using the predictive analytics that gives them the availability to diagnose the patients correctly and then reduce the readmission rate. So we can see that 42% improvement in patient outcomes and the 58% anticipated reduction in cost per unit of outcome change. So those were a brief introduction of where predictive analytics brought huge business values to the clients. Every year, Gartner assesses the market for BI platforms. And this year, the industry analyst firm added more emphasis on predictive analytics to its criteria for evaluation. The analytics world, as we know, is changing in real time. For many, we're moving from a world where many businesses users passively view information about historic results delivered to them on a scheduled basis with a series of absolute measures with a perspective of operations inside the business. We're rapidly moving to also need to active discovery, real-time analysis, and dynamic predictive models completely integrated across the business with measurement adjusted for potential risk. And final analytics are consumed by many outside the enterprise. So outside in thinking needs to be accommodated. And no matter where to start or what you need to do, today's business climate is demanding, comprehensive, and capabilities across a spectrum of different use cases. So by the end of the day, you should be prepared to answer these questions, which will give you the building blocks to make the next move and set you up to be a leader and master of analytics. Have you planned your journey, or you just letting it happen? Are you deciding on capabilities rather than products? Your action should be execute from capabilities out rather than product in. Do you think of analytics in a holistic way? Your action should be look at the big picture. When you do, it's hard to take a piecemeal approach. And is your current approach sustainable and cost-effective? Your action should be evaluate cost of integration, training and skills, development as you expand beyond your current point of view. And will you be ready to support your business team's demands? Action should be just be ready. Whether you're IT or business or have a foot in both camps, you're judged by how well you enable your constituents. Jump in and make this happen. These are the list of our recent clients, and by this slide I would like to end my presentation and leave the time for questions and answers.
Juan, thank you so very much for that. It really seems like predictive analytics can cross so many different verticals, if you will, from education, finance, industrial, so many different case studies that it can be used for. Thank you for sharing that information with us. If there's any questions, please type them in the right-hand side of the screen in the question box. We'll be more than happy to answer the questions. On one question that did come up, which I started smiling at it because I thought that's a great question. What does SPSS stand for?
So SPSS.
Correct. SPSS. What the SPSS modular? What does the S, the P, and the S stand for?
So S stands for statistics, right? Statistics, basically software package for statistical analysis. So that would what SPSS stands for. Statistical package for the social sciences. That would be like the perfect reflection of SPSS.
Okay,
This,
excellent.
yeah,
Thank you.
Social science, meaning all kinds of economics or statistics, every part of or every field of social science are usually using SPSS as well. So it's not just business industry, it's, of course, the academic field as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Any other questions that someone may have, please feel free to type those in, and we'll be happy to address those for you. Also a quick reminder is that everybody who registered for the webinar today will receive a copy of the President of Quan's presentation, and then of course all of our contact information. If you have any additional questions as you are reviewing the presentation, and we'll be happy to address those. You can reach out to either one of us, myself or to Quan, and we'll be more than happy to address those. Well, Quan, quick, just getting a couple more questions here. Let me look at these real quick. Colin, one of the questions that came through is that does MindStream currently have standard templates built within the healthcare industry itself, or is this something that we customize for each particular organization? Would go through and customize it?
Yeah, we do customize for each. It really depends on the data structure. They can be structured, they can be unstructured. So as I mentioned before, it could be a connection of several data sets. One could be structured based on age, marital status, gender, and the other one could be unstructured, which could be pulled from social media, could be pulled from comments and surveys. So it all depends from client to client.
Okay, excellent.
And the interesting part is that SPSS is very user-friendly, and once we help you create those basic models, you as a client will be able to create your model as well, right, based on the future situations. And as I showed, it is very user-friendly, and anyone can work with this tool once properly trained and get a guidance from us.
Okay. Great. One of the other questions that came up was, how do you determine which parameters to pass to the SPSS tool, to the module? How do you determine what to pass?
So let me clarify this a little bit. To pass, I'm assuming the person is asking, how do we determine which data is significant, which not? So there are several tests. Most of the time, we try to push all the data into SPSS, and then we do data evaluation. So those were the first phases of CRISP-DM, as I mentioned: data understanding, data evaluation. And then, of course, there are several tests that we can do using SPSS Modeler and find out whether the data correlate with your results. So if you are looking for readmission rate and how they are affected, or if you're looking for whether the person will open an account with a bank or not, just based on some historical survey data, you need to correlate the dependent and independent variables, and the SPSS will tell you whether they're significant or not, just using all those tests and regression models. That would be the best way to define whether to use the data or omit them.
Okay. So you can really input multiple sections of data to better understand each area and then drill down within each area, it sounds like.
Yes. And I think we're going to leave that for probably next presentation, where we would like to go more into details into the product. And I can definitely show how SPSS Modeler accepts the data and removes the outliers, right? The outliers are basically the records that do not make sense in our data set. So it could be somebody that filled in the survey just for fun, or it could be somebody that is too young in your data set, right? Those people are called outliers and are not supposed to be in our model. So we can eliminate those records right at the beginning.
Excellent. We'll look forward to the next presentation, and we'll be getting everyone invites out to that so that we can go to that next step and see that at work. Any other questions that anyone has, go ahead and type it in. Be happy to do that. And just to clarify, the SPSS statistical package of social sciences is just to make sure we had the exact answer for the individual who asked that. Looks like we've answered and addressed all the questions, and again, we'll get into more detail on our next presentation, as Quan mentioned, and begin showing some great examples of being able to use the SPSS modular and building those out and showing how we can go through that process. I want to thank everybody for coming today and attending our webinar on predictive analytics, demystifying, and as Quan did mention, we will continue this process and this series and doing a deeper dive on the next time. We'll be sending the presentation out, and on the presentation is our contact information. If you have any additional questions, do not hesitate to reach out to myself or to Quan. And Quan, thank you so much again for preparing, and thank you for presenting to us today. And if there's anything that MindStream Analytics, you bet, if there's anything that MindStream Analytics could do to assist any of you that are on the call, again, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy. Thanks, everyone, for attending, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.